Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is Tim from thebuttonsmashers.com. Along with me is Editor-in-Chief Q, and I am the host of Plug and Play Podcast. He is the host of That Beautiful Life. We are not in that capacity of our podcast today. Today we are talking as fans of the latest Star Wars movie, Star Wars The Last Jedi. And we have both just seen it. We are both pumped. We are both full of the Force. And we are both ready to share with you our experiences. So let me break it down really quick how we're going to do it today. We're going to talk about our theater experience. We're going to talk about our overall impressions. And then we're going to dive into spoilers. And we will warn you before spoilers. So you can listen now without worrying about spoilers. And we will tell you when you need to pause and come back later after you've seen the movie. So Q, I want to start with you. What was your theater experience like? What was like the lead up going to a movie? How was the movie theater? Just tell me all about it.
Okay, so I was supposed to see the movie on Sunday, right? Well, I probably will still see it on Sunday anyway. But a friend of mine, he was like, "Hey, mate, we're going to see Star Wars on Sunday." I'm like, "Yeah, perfect." Then, yesterday, my sister's like, "Hey, we went to see a movie for your birthday and it sucked. And do you want to go see something else today?" Because what happened was I went to see Justice League, and the theater I was at, the movie just got scrambled and there was like a bunch of audio crap, and they gave us tickets to come back and see it in a week. And we're busy people. It was on a Monday, so like we just did not go back. And so those tickets just expired, and we were like, whatever, screw that. We didn't really care. It was Justice League. And then my sister says, "Hey, want to go see something today?" So I was like, you know what? Let's go. So this afternoon, after everyone was finished week and everything like that, we went to a movie theater to see Star Wars. And so this theater we got chicken tenders, which the chicken tenders sucked, by the way. Anyone who's listened to this and is in Trinidad and Tobago, do not go to Movie Town for their chicken tenders. It sucks. Just order something else. Buy a burger or a sandwich.
I can't believe you didn't buy curry.
There's no curry in the theater, so that...
Savages.
Yeah, they are savages. The food sucked. Let's just put that way. The fries were okay, but the chicken tenders were horrible. And they had the best chicken tenders. I don't know what they did. They just decided to change the recipe and make it horrible. But that aside, we got popcorn, we got Skittles, because we always get Skittles, and we got drinks. Actually, my sister snuck in drinks for me, because they had water in their bags, and so they snuck in water. So I just had a bottle of water.
Okay, good. That makes me feel better when I talk about my snacks.
Oh, I'm assuming you had a lot of stuff snuck in.
Well, we'll get to that. We're talking about you first.
Okay, so we snuck in the water, and the popcorn and everything, and we went into the theaters, and we got... Like, when we walked in, we were the first people to walk in because we were at the front of the line. And so we got to pick the best seats. So I was like, oh, we're going... I'm like, so where do you guys want to sit? They were like, it's your choice, you choose. I'm like, okay, perfect. We went all the way up to, like, the last row, and we sat to the front of the last row, and we were just, like, perfectly seated in, like, the center. And the movie started. And the thing, though, is that my theater experience sucked after that point, and I'm specifically talking about the people in the theater. They didn't seem to be Star Wars fans, because I'm in the theater, right, and stuff is happening, and you know, all the cool scenes and stuff that fans of Star Wars will recognize and be like, oh my god, oh, and I'm the only guy in there clapping and and it feels so uncomfortable, because I'm like, oh, so am I not supposed to be happy for this? Because like no one else seems to care.
That's a bummer.
Yep. So I hated the people in the theater. Like, I think only once did they celebrate at the same time with me, and that was coming on to the end of the movie. The rest of it, they were just horrible. You know. So yeah, I don't know what was going on with those people. They sucked. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
What about you? How was your theater experience?
So, first about buying the tickets, like, since The Phantom Menace, we buy our tickets in advance as soon as we are able to, because it's a big deal for our family. We, like, make time. We will take shifts off work, whatever we need to do to see the... Like, we could have seen it, I guess, yesterday, even earlier, but we did see it on technically the opening day, which is today. So, we always try to do that. So, we got... I'm assuming you saw it in 2D, because you didn't mention that. We actually saw it in 3D. It was okay.
Okay, yes, definitely 2D.
Yeah, some movies really benefit from that. Like, I like Doctor Strange, for example, in 3D. Yep. That was pretty cool. This was okay. There were some scenes that definitely benefited. Overall, it would have been fine in 2D. So getting the theater, it was pretty packed. It was a theater where you get assigned seats. We showed up
Ooh.
20 minutes early anyway, and there was definitely Star Wars fans in our audience, which was cool. There's people with lightsabers, and they wouldn't allow masks at the theater, but there was other like Star Wars like T-shirts and whatnot. Afterwards, skipping ahead to the lobby, there was actually people in costume that you could pose and take pictures with, which you've seen on my Facebook page.
Definitely.
So we posed with Kylo Ren and some stormtroopers. It's pretty awesome.
And Kylo
that
Ren
was
kisses
cool.
your wife.
He
What breathes
did. I
down her
wasn't
neck.
expecting that. He just reached in and like kissed my wife on the cheek. And I'm like, what the hell, Kylo? But I
He's
mean,
a horrible Seth.
he's got a lightsaber. So what am I gonna do?
Well, that's why you need to go with your lightsaber so that you make sure this doesn't happen again.
I do have one too.
Next movie.
Next time. So we brought snacks. We snuck in sub sandwiches and cans of cider. So we ate well. The food was good because we picked it outside of the theater. Let me see. Oh yeah, the theater itself. Everyone was into it. People were like clapping and oohing and awing. There was right when the crawl started. You know, the very beginning when the logo comes up, Lucasfilm Limited or whatever.
Yep.
This 6-year-old behind it goes, "Oh yeah!"
You see, I had none of that. I was that guy in my theater. I was the one guy that was just like, "Oh my god, look, it's so amazing!" And my sisters are just sitting there with serious faces, and everyone in the theater is just dead serious like, and I'm like, "What the fuck, man?"
There were gasps in the audience during that one scene with Finn. I'm not going to say it now because we're keeping a spoiler free, but you know the scene I'm talking about. There was gasps.
Okay.
Like,
Is this the scene? Is this the scene?
No. Spoiler free.
I'm not saying the spoilers. I'm scrolling down through. Is it the last quote in the text that we have here, the document that we're working with? Is it related to that?
No, we'll get to it. I'm just saying people were into it. People were definitely emotionally invested. So I was with a good crowd. So sorry about your crowd.
Can we trade crowds like next time? I want your crowd.
Yeah,
you can have
that's another reason why I like to go opening weekend, because I feel like the people who are into it are going then, and there's definitely more of the crowd energy than if you wait to see it a week or so later. Like maybe you get lucky, but the crowd is definitely more into it opening weekend.
I kind of feel maybe our crowd was the kids crowd for some reason, because when we were leaving, there were a ton of people going in to see the movie in 3D, because the 3D showings are all later than the 2D showings. So 2D cuts off at 5:30, and we got the 5:30 show because that's the earliest we could have made it to the theater. And the others, well, those are all 3D, and my sisters know I can't do 3D because of my eyes. And so we just didn't see the 3D version, but it looked like a lot of people were going in for 3D, and they looked like fans. They looked like the kind of adults and hype really like amazing. So I kind of feel we just locked out because we chose 2D. Like that's probably why my crowd sucked. But yeah.
Well, at least the movie was still good.
Yep.
I guess that's a spoiler. We both liked the movie, right?
Yep.
Let's actually talk about what we thought about the movie in general terms, spoiler free, for the moment. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to go first?
You go first.
Okay. So I thought this film had better editing and pacing than The Force Awakens. Like when one scene ended, it would kind of lead naturally to another scene. Sometimes Star Wars movies jump in between back and forth different situations, and you feel a little lost. Like, you know, it'll be with these characters and jump to these characters. I thought it just flowed more naturally, and there wasn't as many slow parts as there was in Force Awakens. Like that 2.5 hours went by pretty fast for me. The other thing I thought that was really cool is some of the fights really went back to the roots of Star Wars, which was kind of based on Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. So there was the fights had a samurai style to them. There was different weapons employed. People changed their foot stance very noticeably. I really appreciated that. There was an interesting sub-theme of war as a machine in the film. It came up several times. Like, you know, it doesn't matter if you're fighting for good or evil. Like, you're just part of this machine, the self-perpetuating machine that ultimately benefits the rich who sell the weapons to everybody. I thought that was an interesting commentary on our times. I liked how they slipped that in there.
Yep.
Oh, the characters. They had clear motivations. There was a little bit of ambiguity with some of the characters in the first film. Really felt like I knew where every character was coming from. And there was a wide moral spectrum in this film.
That's my biggest thing about it, actually, is that the moral spectrum was wide. That's... Wow, I didn't even think about it until you mentioned it, but yeah.
I'll bring this up again later when I get more specific because it delves into spoiler territory. But you had the pure evil, the pure good, and then you had conflicted characters, and then you had not conflicted but morally ambivalent characters who are just in it for themselves, not necessarily good or evil. They could team up with either side depending on the circumstance. And then the last thing I will say is I felt it had more warmth and humor than Force Awakens. There was a lot of funny quips and lighthearted moments in between the heavier stuff. And there was some pretty heavy stuff in the Force Awakens. Not to say that there wasn't any dark moments in this movie. There were, but I don't know. There's more warmth and laughter in this movie, so I appreciate that as well. Any general impressions you care to give before we move into Spoiler Town?
I just want to say, the biggest thing for me that really got my attention with the film is the moral ambiguity of the whole film. You know, the characters not really being good or evil, and that's part of the underlying commentary about the film, is that, you know, the whole build up. There's a moment in the film, pretty early in the film, you know, relating to
Careful.
I'm trying to pick my words really carefully. There's a moment in the beginning related to two of the characters, and they're talking about something, and you know, they talk about this moral sort of middle ground where it's not good, it's not evil, it's just that middle ground. And for me, I like that because, as you say, it's a lot of the things in the film, they touch on things that are happening in our current times that we live in, but they touch on it in such a subtle way that it doesn't even feel like they're trying to comment on it. You know, it's just sort of
doesn't feel forced.
Yes, it just feels natural. It feels like it's just perfect. It fits perfectly into the film, into the fact like this setting in the future, in a galaxy far, far away, and all this sort of things. Like, this is exactly this galaxy far, far away that just so happens to have something similar to us, and it just works. It just feels right, and that's the thing. The pacing, everything is just smooth. There's no sort of, you don't feel, there was not a moment for me to breathe. And like you said, the 2 hour and a half time went by so fast because I literally felt like I held my breath throughout the entire film. Like, that's how it felt.
I liked Force Awakens, but that definitely wasn't the case for me. There was some lulls in that for me, so I appreciated that. All right, are you ready to move into spoiler territory?
Yeah, I'm so excited. I can't wait to go into
Okay,
it.
so listeners, this is your official spoiler warning. From this point, we will discuss plot points of the film Star Wars Last Jedi. If you do not want to be spoiled, pause now, go see the film, come back, and join the discussion again. All right, you've been warned. I think we should start with discussing, instead of discussing the whole plot, because we'll just recount the movie, let's talk about the characters in the movie, and then I'm going to do a lightning round where I make you choose, Q. I make you choose your favorite baby. Okay, but first, the characters. Let's start with Snoke. I believe he is acted by Andy, is it Sedaris? The guy who does Gollum and many other. He's a very good motion capture actor. I think that's what he did because he's in the credits.
Is that your way of saying he's just not attractive enough to be in screen?
He certainly was not a looker. So, I want to ask you first. What did you think of his role in this film?
Well, he got killed, so...
He did, but before, like, I don't know. What else do you think about him, other than he got killed?
I mean, he's toying with everything, right? The thing is that with him getting killed, I didn't see it coming. Like, I literally didn't see it coming. So for Snoke, it was sort of like, you know, he's trying to play everyone. He's like this guy who's, you know, like, pops up out of nowhere and is sort of swaying Kylo. The one thing with Snoke though is that I wish I knew more about him. Like, I feel like we met him in the first movie, like at the end of it.
He was just a hologram, like talking to people in the first one.
Exactly, and in this one, he just gets killed. Like, there's like one big scene with him, and in that well, it's split up through multiple scenes, but if you snip it together, it's that one big moment with him, and he just gets killed. Like, that's the most that's the thing I can think about for the most of him, is him getting killed. That's mainly it for me.
I didn't like him as a character. He was too generic. Like, he was ugly and evil, but like, he was just kind of doing the Emperor things from the first trilogy. He was like, I'm gonna sit in my chair and like, you know, toy with you. I don't know.
I thought he was gonna have more, like him toying with Rey and Kylo. Like, he's like, oh, my apprentice is gonna, you know, kill you and stuff, and he'll never change, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, dude, seriously? I'm so feeling so much deja vu, but you're not Palpatine, mate. You're just not.
There was definitely deja vu there for sure, and I'm fine with him being killed off because he wasn't interesting to me. So
yep.
Goodbye. Also, he's a little bit too much like Voldemort to me. With the face and the whatever. Okay, moving on to characters I care more about. Kylo.
Oh, I like Kylo more in this one.
I did too. He's less of a... I'm going to swear. He's less of a whiny bitch.
He is. In the first movie, he was just like, every time something happened, draw my lightsaber and hit everything and wham, wham. And
okay,
this one,
he did do that. He was like, every scene he gets mad, I'm like, is he going to smash all the electronics in the room again?
He did it once. He did in the elevator.
But he did it for good reason, to smash his stupid helmet, which I thought was hilarious because they called a stupid helmet in the movie.
Like, it's a stupid helmet. Like,
that's the one redeeming thing of Snoke, is he called the helmet stupid, and he's like, "Fine, I'm gonna smash it."
You're not Vader. You are not your grandfather.
I love that. Yeah, yes. That was pretty cool.
I was like, in your face, Kylo. And then I think he the moments with him and Rey. Oh my god,
That's why she's next, because we can't really talk about Kylo without talking about Rey. They are supposed to be the flip sides of the Force, the dark and the light. I mean, that's clearly evidenced by their wardrobe. He's always wearing black, she's always wearing white. Mm-hmm. But we get a look at Rey, and when she's Force meditating, and she's drawn to the dark side. Yep. So
she's somewhere in between. I feel like with her and Kylo, what I was feeling was a moral ambiguity that we talk about, whereby
I felt like she was more firm.
You felt like she was more firm, like she was more firm to the light? I felt like she's in the middle.
I think she's drawn to the dark because it has answers she seeks, and it's a quicker route. I think there's definitely an attraction there. But I felt Kylo was actually struggling more internally, and part of him wanted to come to the light much more than Rey. Rey doesn't really want to go to the dark. It's just that the dark is attractive because it's easier and it has answers she might seek. I don't know. I felt like he was more swayable in this film.
To the end of the film, yes. In the beginning, I kind of was feeling like they were both in the same place, especially when she confronts Luke. Mm-hmm. That moment, the moment where it leads up to her confronting Luke, with Luke walking in on her and Kylo, you know, having that moment. Because I was like, they're brother and sister. In my mind, I'm just like, yeah, if they're gonna admit at some point, you know, these guys are. Because you have that moment where Luke and Leia connected and they sense each other. I'm like, oh, that's a brother-sister connection. Obviously, Kylo and Rey are gonna be brother and sister. They're gonna admit it. Because I did see like a Star Wars theory before the film, like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but it turns out Snoke was making that whole connection happen, and he was like the Force Skype, like opening up a portal between them, and that was his intention, to try to lure Rey in by making Kylo look vulnerable to the light side. So that was really the reason he was in this film, was to make the connection between the characters, metaphysically, if you will. That was a quick aside. There was some new like Force powers in this movie. The Jedi Skype power was one of them, and the other one we'll get to later, kind of the what do you want to call it? Holographic power.
Hey! Let's just call it the most badass move that has ever been done by a Jedi ever. Yeah. I actually think we should have like anytime there's a picture with Snoke, it should always have Skype with it, and because he's pretty much Skype now. He's Snoke Skype.
Snoke's
basically.
it. I like it. All right. Anything else you want to go about Rey? How about her tenacity as a student? She didn't give up.
She didn't give up. No.
No, she's pretty cool. She also has like zero respect for the sanctity and the holiness of the Jedi Island. I loved how she was wrecking stuff and making all the caretakers on the Jedi Island really upset.
Oh,
Blasting.
I was laughing when like
That was a funny moment.
She cuts the rock. They're going around their normal daylight, and then, like, I'm picturing them, right? You know, you're out there moving your stuff around. A rock falls out of nowhere. You're like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
And then you look up, and it's that girl that just yesterday blew a hole through the wall in her cabin. You're like, really? Again? Really?
People live in here.
Yeah, that was like another one of those funny little moments. All right, do we have more to say about Kylo and Rey?
Let me think. I'm not sure. I feel like the more I want to say about Kylo and Rey is related to the other stuff that we're going to talk about further down. So I think we can save it for a bit.
All right, Poe. Poe had a cool hero moment right at the beginning of the movie.
He's an idiot at the beginning of the movie.
He is, but like all the ladies, like he makes him. They make him mad, but like they secretly love it.
They do.
He's hot-headed and rash. They'll never admit he's right, even if he is, because most of the time he's not anyway.
He's not. He's a hothead.
He rushes into danger, gets everybody killed. But yeah, he's the hot shot, the hot dog, whatever.
He is. The whole film, he's a hothead up until that moment with what's her name? I need her name. I forgot her name. What's her name? The one with the glasses. Damn it. The one who stayed back on the ship with the purple hair. I think her name
I don't know her name
either. Vice Admiral Holdo, I think is her name. She's played by Laura Dern.
She was a cool character.
She's my favorite. She's one of my favorites. I hated her up until the last moments with her. So yeah, and it's she changes Poe. I think it's her why Poe sort of, like, we see a different Poe come to the end of the film, you know, and I think all of the characters get a bit of change, like they get a bit of growth throughout the film, and Poe shows the biggest growth out of everyone, and I like that.
Yeah, back to Kylo, he had this theme going on of destroy your past, even if you have to kill it. So back to the dark side, light side, whatever side, he just wants to do his own thing, which made an interesting moment when he turned on Snoke, which was an awesome scene, by the way.
Yep, it was super, because
I think I have to add that to the cool moments.
Oh yeah, that definitely is. That's definitely
I'll
a cool
put that
moment.
in right now. Well,
you didn't see it coming, so let's jump to
nope.
Finn. Let's go to Finn. Let's go to Finn. Okay, we can leave
all
Poe.
Right. Yeah, we can leave Poe.
Why is there a question mark next to Poe's name, by the way?
I don't know how to spell Poe. That's all good. You guys can't tell here. It sounds good. All right, Finn. Finn is a badass. He wakes up naked with water spraying everywhere, which is hilarious. That was funny. That was a funny moment. But in general, he's a badass, aside from that first embarrassing moment.
Oh, yeah. Except the first embarrassing moment, I think the most embarrassing moment with Finn is when he meets Rose. Because...
yeah, and she's all like, oh, you're the hero of the rebellion. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, meanwhile, trying to block his backpack in the escape pod. And then she tases his ass.
Because she's like, I had to tase some people earlier on trying to escape. And then she looks
He's like, oh, yeah, I can't imagine people doing that. And he's trying to hide the backpack.
Oh, my God. I have to say, and you guys can tell this. You guys, I don't know if you can tell, but my cheeks are bursting with smiles right now because it was so good. Finn is so badass in the film. Like, everyone is badass, but Finn, I think this movie was more Finn. Like, the first movie was more Rey, and this was more Finn this time around.
Really?
Because
I think Rey had a bigger part to play, honestly.
I felt like she had a bigger part in the first film to a certain extent. You know, she was the one who fought Kylo at the end and defeated him, and then she goes off while Finn is sleeping in the bed, and while he's out cold basically. In this one, you got moments with Rey and Luke and stuff like that, but most of her moments were isolated to her, like, learning stuff and figuring out and trying to get through to Luke. Whereas with Finn, he was off doing stuff, you know, he was off fighting people and trying to find stuff and being awestruck by rich people. You know, so yeah, I think Finn had like a lot more like even though I think everyone had a purpose in the film, I felt like Finn had so much more going on in this film because he was going to so many different places.
Yes, let's talk about the moment that I sort of alluded to earlier, which you didn't quite pick up on. We thought Finn was going to die.
Oh, we did?
Yes, we did. When he was flying straight into the mini Death Star laser.
Shit! Oh my god!
Yeah, his spaceship was breaking up. Like sweat was beading because he's basically riding straight into a freaking laser beam.
I was looking at my sister.
He was gonna do the heroic sacrifice just like the whatever admiral just did, and take out the laser and like. No, Finn! No!
I was screaming at my sister. I was like, please don't kill Finn. Please don't kill Finn. And
it really looked like Finn was going to die.
She's trying to ignore me in the film, trying to pay attention to what's going on. I'm just like, please don't let them kill him. Please don't let them kill him. He's my favorite.
I thought that was going to be his last hero moment, and that was it. But
then Rose came in.
Let's go on and let's talk about Rose.
Let's talk about everyone's new favorite girl.
Everyone. I think you're projecting here, Q. But
I don't care what anyone says. She's my new favorite.
We're introduced to her in the escape pod room because she's like an engineer, and she's kind of looking kind of mousy and introverted in the beginning. But to go back a little bit, we see her sister die heroically bombing the dreadnought, and she's got the other half of a pendant that she's wearing that's very important to her, and becomes a minor plot point with another character we're going to talk about next. So she suffered a recent loss with her sister, is all I'm getting at to say with that. And at first she seems very, not insecure, but very, I guess, timid would be the word I'm saying. She's very starstruck with Finn meeting him because she's like a big hero, and she's kind
just
of
an engineer.
She's a maintenance worker, basically.
Yep.
But fate throws her into a much more active role because... Everybody in the rebellion is basically dying.
Dead.
Yeah,
they killed off pretty much everyone.
Yeah, she ends up running that last ditch effort to save the secret rebel base by flying those death trap speeder things. So you obviously have a soft spot for Rose. I'm going to turn it over to you and let you tell me everything that you love about Rose.
Okay, before we go on to Rose, a moment of silence for one of the biggest characters in Star Wars. Pretty much made the first set of movies what they were, and his name is Admiral Akbar, and he died. And
he did. He did.
They killed him off, and the only time you realize that he was dead is when they were like, "Oh, Admiral Akbar died," and I'm like, "What?"
No, I did see him in the scene before that and realized it was him.
Oh God, I didn't. I thought it was just someone of his own race, but it wasn't him.
A calamari.
Yeah, a calamari.
That's what they're called.
Is that really what they're called?
Yeah.
But calamari isn't calamari like a fish or something?
It's a squid on Earth. Yes.
It's squid, right? It's something that you eat. Oh my God. Yes. So they're named after food. Oh God. Named after food and then killed. Oh man. But yes, back to Rose. Rose is my favorite character. My new favorite. She starts off like sort of like in the beginning when you meet Rose, you don't even think much of her. Like you said, she starts off really timid, and she's like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. She's like this little sort of like this spunky kid who's working in the maintenance room and stuff like that. And she shocks Finn, and I'm like, okay, cool. They're probably gonna have. I mean, obviously she's gonna have a bigger role, but I'm thinking like, oh, she's just gonna be like a support role, like she's just gonna be around. But she's not. She's in almost every scene with Finn throughout the film, and she's a badass. She's like super cool, and she saves Finn. She saves him, and.
She's got my favorite quote in the movie, which I'm going to save till the very end of our discussion.
Okay, so here's the thing. I want to talk about that quote, right? So I'm going to have to say, can I talk about what happens with that quote? Like, is that written anywhere down there? Is it anywhere in there?
So he's the last speeder on this assault on the giant cannon that's going to destroy the rebel base. Everyone else is peeled off and retreated. He's going to make the hero sacrifice, go straight into the laser, and save everyone. And he's like almost there. Like his ship's breaking apart. He's sweating. He's about to die. And then all of a sudden, his ship gets knocked off to the side.
It gets rammed. That's not even knocked off. She rammed his ship.
She rammed him straight on. And like she almost died doing it. And yeah, he's like in shock, and he stumbles out of a spacecraft and goes to her, and
she says something, and I'm not gonna say the line. I'll save it for the end, like you said. She says something to him, and then she kisses him. And
yes, she does.
Like, oh my god!
And he was not expecting that kiss, by the way.
He's just like, well, I'll have to say.
He starts looking at her in a different way after that. He didn't even think of her that way until that point, I'm pretty sure. Like, he didn't realize it was obvious to us, the audience, that she's got a major crush on him.
I wouldn't get it. I didn't get it until the end. If she did not kiss him, I wasn't going to see it, mate. I was just like, she's just like friend.
No, hell no. She was starstruck. She had a major crush for him from the beginning.
I didn't think she had the crush. I just thought she was like, oh, well, he's like the super cool person that, saved them and all that kind of stuff. I felt like she would be like that around everyone.
He almost ruined it by making her think he was a deserter, but yeah.
Yeah, he almost.
I love the look of surprise in his face. Like, oh, she likes me.
I thought, she thinks she thinks
I'm so confused
cool.
right now. Am I mad at her because she ruined my chance to save everyone? He was confused in that moment. It was glorious.
I have to say, when she kissed him, I didn't see it. I was just sitting there, and I was like, okay, she says her line. I'm like, okay, great. This is gonna be. I felt like time slowed down in that moment for me. I was just like, wow, hello. And I turned to my sister in that moment. I was just like, well, I'm over the previous. Like, I'm in it with this. This is my new ship, but we'll get to that later. Let's jump into DJ, because if I stay on Rose, we're never gonna go anywhere. So.
I have a question at the end for after we talk about all the characters, and I already know your answer. But okay, DJ, he is played by is it Benicio del Toro? Is that right?
Let me check. I have the names of everyone here.
He's a funny character though. They meet him in prison.
You are correct.
He is what's called a slicer in Star Wars, basically a hacker, and he has this funny speech impediment that I can't even replicate. It was pretty cool.
I can't do it either.
And he's a shifty character. Like, you don't know if he's like who he says he's good at hacking stuff, right? And you don't know if he really is. But then he like opens the cell with like a piece of bubblegum basically or something. And they're like, "Oh wow, maybe he can do what he says." And then he jacks a spaceship, gets him out of a bad situation. But yeah, when the going gets tough, he just turns on them. He sells them out. He sells out the whole Rebel Alliance. Like, yep.
He went all in. My sister was pissed at that point. My younger sister is like, so they told him their plans, like everything. They couldn't just tell him what he needed to know.
They didn't really tell him. He's like, they're just dumb, and they were talking in front of him.
I know.
They did that several times. They were just talking about their plans in front of him, and he's looking out for number one.
Yep.
DJ is all about DJ, and as long as you know that, you can get along with him. But if you're naive like Rose and Finn, that could be bad. It was bad for them.
Yep. I like DJ though. I have to say he's one of my favorite characters in the film. I like the fact that he plays that middle ground.
Yes, he's the morally ambiguous person I was talking about the most. He's not good. He's not evil. He's just looking out for number one.
Yep.
And he endeared himself to me a lot quicker than like Poe did in the first movie, as far as introducing a new character. All right, let's get back to some main big characters.
Before we jump into Leia,
yes?
One thing with DJ is that he also shed a lot of wisdom on Finn in a very crafty way when he was going through the log of the ships.
The theme I was talking about, yeah.
Correct. He did it like it was, because I saw it coming as he was doing it, and I was like, this is a really smart way to do this, because I knew it. I was just like, obviously these people are selling weapons to both sides, and he's flicking through the log of the ship, and he's showing, these guys sell to the to the
they sell
Empire.
TIE fighters. They sell TIE fighters to it's the First Order now.
To the First Order, sorry.
And but they're also selling X-Wings to the Rebellion, or I guess they're called the Resistance now, not the Rebellion. I keep saying that. The Resistance, sorry. They're in it for money, just like him. Exactly,
and I like that. I have to say, I like how they made him that sort of character that passed on that knowledge to Finn, because I feel it will help Finn a lot more going into the future films and stuff like that.
Let's not forget where Finn started. Finn was a stormtrooper.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And he needs to. The thing is, he started off as a stormtrooper. He joined the good guys, but I do feel like there is no real good guy, bad guy in these films. I'm not like this film really sells it for me in the sense that it depends on which side you're on is who are the good guys and who are the bad guys, really.
I think we could say Snoke is a bad guy. He's just using people for his personal gain.
Hey, for all we know, Snoke could have a very smart idea in the future. Maybe he wanted to like plant dandelions on this amazing planet, and it would save.
He's kind of a dick, though. He's always force choking people, throwing them around the room. It's kind of hard to say man of the year when you're like taking your subordinates and like mopping the floor with them, literally.
What's that magazine in the U.S. that picks like Time magazine?
Time, yes.
Yeah.
He will not be.
He
no.
can make it.
No. Oh, that reminds me. I don't even know the character's name, but the ginger. He was pretty funny.
The ginger.
The old commander.
Which one was that?
He's like a commander. He's not Kylo. He's not Snoke. He's the other kind of first order leader. I don't even know his rank is.
The one who approaches Kylo and then he's like, "Oh, you're not the leader," and Kylo teaches him a lesson.
What he says is, the Supreme Commander is dead, and then Kylo force chokes him. He goes, "Long live the Supreme Commander." Like, basically acknowledging that he's the new Supreme Commander. That was a funny moment too.
Yep, he is. I have to say, didn't he also star as a Harry Potter character? I think he used to act as
like
as,
a Weasley.
Yes, he was Ron's brother.
We're so stereotyping gingers right now. I'm sorry if you're a ginger. All right, moving on to Leia. Let's pretend that never happened.
Hey, I love gingers, so let's continue.
I thought Leia was going, or Carrie Fisher was going to leave this movie a lot sooner than she did.
Bro, I started crying at the beginning.
Well, I cried at the end where she was in the credits because they gave her own special music theme. Did you stay through credits at all?
I stayed up to the point where they showed her name.
Yeah, they changed the music.
Yeah, I stayed up to that point, and then after I left.
Well, the movie opens with a space battle, and in that battle, she gets shot out into space.
I was like, that was a good way to kill her off. I'm like, oh my god.
Right, I thought that was it. Great. Okay, no, well, that's how she gets out. But no.
She's a badass. She's like, I am not.
She like twitches awake, half frozen like a popsicle, and force pulls herself back into the spaceship and survives. I'm like, holy crap! I did not see that coming. I thought that's how they write her out of the series right there.
Yep.
But she's not done yet. So I don't know how much we have of her in the next film, but she'll be coming back.
They wrote her so. I have to say, she was. Because in the previous films, we haven't seen her use her Force abilities other than just communicating with Luke at a distance, basically.
Right.
We got to see her use her Force abilities. We got to see Darth Vader's not Darth Vader, sorry. Anakin Skywalker's daughter, right? Leia Skywalker. You got to use her full name for this because she was that was Skywalker in there.
Well, and she was just a gentle, natural leader in the film.
Yep.
I did notice she was kind of stepping aside and let others lead in moments.
Yep.
Which, what a good leader will do. An egotistical leader will always make sure that they're the ones calling the shots. A good leader will develop other leaders under them and let them start taking over.
Yep.
So I thought she exhibited really cool leadership qualities. It's cool to see her in this. It was, of course, bittersweet. And the scene where she's reunited with Luke and acknowledges to Luke that, yeah, he kind of let her son go to the dark side, but she basically forgave him, which was a sweet scene.
Yeah, because it's all Luke's fault. Like, everything is Luke's
fault. Kind of was. So, let's talk about Luke.
He caused everything. He created Kylo Ren, and he caused everything. And
he saw the darkness in Kylo Ren and was afraid, and turned on his lightsaber while Kylo was sleeping, and Kylo woke up and struck him down, burned down the temple, killed the other Jedi, ran away. Again, echoes of Anakin. But he did not guide Kylo the right way. He didn't channel and deal with Kylo, and so he is kind of at fault here, and he acknowledges that.
Yep. It's a matter of perspective as well with him because of the situation. When you see it from Kylo's point of view, because you get the story from Kylo's point of view first, and Kylo is like, this is what happened. Actually, Luke. I think Luke told. Yeah, Kylo tells you what Luke tells. I think Kylo tells the story.
Luke tells the story first, then Kylo, then Luke again.
Great, that's it. Because I know something's just like there's a back and forth basically. And
yeah.
So
a little more truth each time.
Yeah, some more truth sort of like weeds into it. And you get this sort of like this moment where, from Kylo's point of view, he wakes up and there's his uncle standing over him with a lightsaber drawn.
Yep.
And he just draws his lightsaber and defends himself, basically. And from Luke's point of view, it's a moment of weakness. You know, he has his lightsaber in his hand. He lights it up, but then he sort of like, he realizes
his mind.
He realizes, no, he can't do this. But in that moment, because from Kylo's point of view...
Kylo doesn't know that.
Kylo saw it as Luke swinging at him, when in actuality... he was just holding the lightsaber and Kylo just swung up and Luke just met him mid-air and it's just all like they clashed. So it's like, wow, but it's Luke's fault. I don't care. Kylo's not to blame. He's not to blame in this. I have to say, Kylo could have been saved if Luke didn't do that. So it's Luke's fault. And
all of that makes Luke give up being a Jedi. He moves to isolation. He wants nothing to do with the Force. He actually shuts the Force off from himself.
Yep.
He revealed. Which is kind of crazy. Like, that's like the life energy of the universe. He's like, nope, not doing it.
Yep.
But I gotta say, of all the movies that Luke's been in, this is my favorite. I love salty Luke. He is salty as hell. He doesn't give a... He doesn't care. He's like, get out of here. Get off my island. He's crusty. He's salty.
I got a sense of Yoda from him. Remember when Luke first went to Yoda and Yoda's
but Yoda's playful. He's just like, no, get off my island. Go away. The very first thing he does, like at the end of the first movie, she hands him his lightsaber.
He chucks it away.
He throws it off the freaking cliff. He's like, nah, get rid of that. He is awesome in this. I love crusty old man Luke.
Yep.
So with that being said, he was my favorite character in this. I loved salty Luke. I already know who your favorite character is, but just in case there's any doubt, go ahead and tell us.
It's definitely Rose, but after Rose, it's Luke. It has to go in that order. So Rose, then Luke. Rose's favorite character.
Right. All right, so we've talked about most of the major characters. There's obviously more than this, but let's do a lightning round of I want to make you choose. All right, starting with best sidekick in the film, BB-8 or Chewie?
BB-8.
Why?
Because even though I love Chewie, and it's hard not to love Chewie, it's Chewie. BB-8 is just a badass through like most of the film. He's doing so much stuff, you know. He's piloting stuff. He's saving people. The moment where he's fixing the ship for Poe at the beginning while they're fighting, mate. BB-8.
He's like trying to plug the dam basically with all his fingers.
I'm trying to make logic of it. I'm like, so how does this ship work?
My favorite scene, well, there was two. I loved when he was shooting out coins from the casino at the bad guy. And I loved when he was bumping around in the spaceship with the garbage can on his head. And
the other sort of like BB unit is looking down. It's like, what the frack is going on down there?
What model of robot is that? I don't remember the garbage can unit. Yeah, that's what made it suspicious, I think. All right, so we agree. BB-8, best sidekick of Last Jedi. Yeah. All right, favorite fight. I would call these the three main fights. Mm-hmm. Kylo and Rey in the throne room. Mm-hmm. Finn versus Captain Phasma.
Isn't it Phasma? Like it's a T? Phasma?
Phasma. I think. I don't know. The Silver Stormtrooper.
Yep, I know.
And Luke and Kylo.
I'm going Luke and Kylo.
So, okay. I hear you because as an epic standoff, it was awesome. Mm-hmm. But as an actual fight, I am picking Kylo and Rey in the throne room because it was gymnastic. They were fighting multiple people at a time. I don't know what they were. The honor guard, or I'm sure they had an official. The red, they're like stormtroopers but in red, and they were all different shapes and sizes. They had different weapons. Mm-hmm. It was just a badass fight.
Here's the thing, too. That fight for me, right? Now remember watching it from the perspective of not knowing what's going on in the film. Because I'm thinking of it from what's going on, not knowing what's going on for the fight for Luke and Kylo makes that fight better for me, especially for a viewer who's watching it for the first time, because I'm counting the beginning of the fight as the fight. Like, not before Kylo even gets out of the unit, when he sees Luke walk out, and he's like, shoot him, fire all the guns, and all the shots just keep going in, and they just rain in shots. And then the other bloke is like, stop, let's not waste lasers, because, EA is going to charge us for this, microtransactions and all.
We have to open 3 more loot boxes.
Yeah,
guys. That's what happened, by the way, when the freighters ran out of fuel. They didn't get enough EA credits.
Yep, that's exactly it, and that's how they end up falling back. They kept trying to open, but they just threw out a currency. And that moment when Kylo goes down, but it's before Kylo goes down. It's like you see Luke walk out of the smoke, and he just brushes off his shoulder.
Yes, okay, that's you're kind of spoiling my coolest moment. That's one of my coolest moments, when Luke just brushes off his shoulder after that huge barrage of lasers.
That's what makes the fight for me. It's that moment along with Luke.
But see, it's more of a cool scene. I'm talking about a cool fight. When you come to the fight, Kylo and Luke only went at each other like with 2 engagements.
Luke never touches him. Like, Luke's just constantly just dodging him, which makes it look so cool.
Yeah, but there's a reason for that.
Yeah, there's a reason.
Because he's not really there. If he actually touched him, Kylo would figure out quicker that, wait a minute. That's why he's doing Matrix dodges and stuff.
But, I mean, come on, that's just so cool.
I'm not saying it's not cool. I'm just saying, as a fight, I still go with Kylo and Rey back to back, squaring off against, 7, 8?
It had to be I think it was maybe about 10 of them, and I admit I do agree, as a fight excluding the fact of how cool Luke was against Kylo, yes.
Luke and Kylo was a cool moment. Like, when they were squaring off against each other, I was like, I whispered to my daughter, I'm like, this would be so cool if it was an epic rap battle right now, because they're just standing it's like this vista, this desert, with and they're just on this tableau, facing off against each other, changing their stance. And by the way,
that's the change in stance that's happened there.
One of the biggest clues that Luke was a Force hologram or whatever, his beard was pure brown.
That's what I was telling my sister.
He had a bit of vanity. He had to Force project himself as a younger looking Luke. He's like, I'm not as long as I'm faking it, I'm gonna look cool. He made himself look 15 years younger or something.
He's like, yeah. He's like, I gotta look good.
Yep.
Gotta look good doing it. But yeah, right. we have to give a moment for Finn and Phasma's fight as well, because Finn got back at her. He finally got his moment.
He kind of got lucky, though, if we're gonna be honest.
He did get lucky. But Finn is a lot of luck. I think Finn has a bit of
Force luck.
I think it's kind of like what what's his name had, what Han had. He's just lucky. He's a lucky guy.
And Poe too, actually.
Poe also has it as well. But Poe's just a badass. That's not luck, mate.
Yeah, no. Him facing off one-on-one against a dreadnought, there's some luck there, buddy.
No. Poe's just a badass, mate. I give it to Poe as just... He has a level of I think... You see what you have is, right? You have normal people levels of badass, and then you have, badass levels of badass. And then you have Poe. He's, above that. That's just... Poe is just better than everyone.
We have to move on.
Yes, we do. Let's move on.
This is a lightning round. Best recycled Star Wars moment. These are moments in the movie that you cannot help but compare to moments in previous films. And I could probably pick more, but I'm going with these 3. The Scary Force Tree.
That's mine. That's definitely mine. Scary Force Tree is mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Poe taking on the Dreadnought. That's definitely the canyon runs in the Death Star. And the AT-ATs in the snow / salt.
Yep.
So for me, the Scary Force Trees for you.
Yeah.
I thought the setup for the AT-ATs in the snow was the most reminiscent, but I did appreciate the twists they put on it. It starts out just like Hoth, but they go a different direction with it. I appreciated that.
That's blood salt, mate.
Yes, I love the blood salt. We'll get to that in a minute. All right, cutest new space critter. The Crystal Foxes.
No.
The Porg.
Yes.
Or the Fathiers, which are the horses, the race horses.
The hell no. Porgs, mate. I'm sorry.
Okay. So Porgs are fucking annoying.
No.
Did you see what they were doing to the Millennium Falcon? They were tearing up the upholstery.
They are Chewie's children. I don't want to hear any more of it.
I love the scene when he was roasting one of them, and they just look up at him with sad little eyes, like, "You're eating my friend." He's like, "You bastards ruined my appetite, you sons of bitches. Oh, fine, you can come on the Millennium Falcon, fine." And then they ruin it. They like start nesting his electronics and ripping up his upholstery.
The best part is when
Crystal
Chewie's,
Foxes
like, screaming, and he's just
the
like,
Crystal
"Ah!"
Foxes were pretty. They
Yeah.
ran in and sheltered when the First Order was coming, and they helped everybody escape. They showed the way. They're like good doggies.
But they're just not as cute, though.
They're not as cute, but I'd want them by my side more.
Here's the thing, though. When it comes to who's gonna sell the most merchandise,
yeah. I've got no argument with you there. The porg will definitely. All right, let's move on. Because I can't take the porg. All right. For Finn, I already know your answer to this. I don't know why I'm bothering. For Finn, Team Rey or Team Rose?
Team Rose. And there's
ask?
a reason. I'm giving the reason, right?
Okay.
And I justify my reason. Now, I was Team Rey all through the first movie, right? And I want to say maybe about like 75% of this movie, I was Team Rey still. The thing is, because, you have those moments where Rey's just like, I hope Finn's okay. Where's Finn? And Finn's like, oh, I got to get away from here because I want to make sure Rey's safe. Where's Rey? And so they have those things where they care about each other.
Absolutely. But that's not going to change.
The thing is that it comes down to one thing, and it's the kiss. You see, Rey had her moments in the last movie. What did she do? Friend zone kiss on the forehead. What did Rose do? She was full lip, mate. It's over. She won it. It was full lip, and that's where I draw the line. If Rey had went for lip before, it's open season, mate. It's open season. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where are you?
I'm going to agree with you just because Rey is too busy saving the damn universe, and like Rose will be there for him. Like she's gonna be by his side, like no matter what. She's not gonna go off and fight some Kylo bastard. Also, there's some sexual tension between Rey and Kylo.
Yep.
Let's just acknowledge that. So he's got someone else competing for the affection with Rey. Rose is all in with him. So yeah, I'll go with you on this one, Team Rose.
Plus, at the end, when Rey's looking on and seeing Finn sort of like taking care of Rose, and you can just see like Rey's just gelling in the background, she's just like, oh damn bitch, you stole my man. It's just
like you said, that's her fault. She could have staked that claim earlier, and she didn't.
Mark your territory. That's what it is. It's all about that.
All right, last category I'm gonna go on, but it's a bit longer. Coolest moment in Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Well, I've got here, and there are more cooler moments. It's just what I've picked. The freighter splits the destroyer in half. I think it's a destroyer. Yeah, it might be another dread. It could be another dreadnought. I'm not sure. It destroys the first order ship by going straight into it with light speed. That was pretty badass. There was gasps in my audience when they did that. The 1,000 rays inside the dark tree, the fourth tree.
There's no way that's up there. Like, I'm sorry, mate. It's not even on the level of the first two.
All right, we'll knock it off. That's not winning. Leia reviving in space.
Oh, that's up there.
The blood salt. I thought that was a cool visual effect.
Yep, pretty cool.
In several ways. When Luke gets blasted by thousands of AT-ATs at the same time, the blood salt sprays up, and it looks like it's chunks of flesh. So that's dramatic. It was also really cool when the crappy speeders are coming towards the space laser, and they leave little tracks in the sand. That was a cool effect. That's why I have it in there.
This one thing, though, can I read the last one?
Yeah, go for it.
Because you wrote this, right?
I did, and I've got one more that I skipped because it's my favorite. Go ahead, read this one.
So Tim has in the notes, right? He writes, Kylo turns on Skype. This was here since before we started? I don't remember that.
No, I changed it.
Okay. The most hilarious moment? Yes, I like that one.
You didn't see it coming.
I didn't see it coming, no. Coolest is definitely...
Well, I didn't mention one more, which is after the lasers, the giant blast of like they just unleash hell on Luke. They just shoot everything at him, and he steps out of the smoke and he does this little shoulder brush.
Yep.
That's my coolest moment. That's Luke being an absolute badass. That is as cool to me as a freighter splitting a ship in two going to light speed.
The thing with the freighter splitting the ship to lights, because I agree with you, that is the coolest scene in the film. The one with the freighter splitting the ship, I think that's the most heartwarming moment in the film because of how it happens, like what leads up to it. Because someone is sacrificing themselves. You know, this admiral, she's sacrificing herself for the rest of the resistance to survive. And it's her moment where she turns the ship around, and they know that she's gonna die, and she knows that she's gonna die. And leading up to it, you know, you told of her as like this antagonistic sort of character, but she isn't. You know, she's doing the right thing, and she was actually like correct, like, because I was against her. I was with Poe, like straight through. When Poe pulled the mutiny thing, I was just like, yeah, Team Poe. And then, you know, Leia comes in and it's like, no, sit down. She's like, no, you're not allowed to do stuff like that. And then she even has a moment where she's like, I like him. Like, ah, and then she goes up and she dies. She could have been Poe's bae.
Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool character arc. But all right, so you're going with that being the best moment?
Oh no, hell no! It's Luke. Brush your shoulder off. I'm saying that's the most heartwarming moment.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. I was just like, yes, that's the moment that made me like Luke the most in this film, I think.
I think that's the only moment where my theater actually made noise. It was that moment. I think the rest of them, they were just quiet. So, yeah.
All right, that's the end of our lightning round. And I think it's time for us to wrap up. We're at about an hour. So, any closing thoughts on Star Wars The Last Jedi, Q?
Go see it if you haven't. Well, if you're this far into the spoilers, what the fuck are you doing still here?
Yeah, no kidding. And half of it won't even make sense to you. What are you doing with your life right now?
You're a horrible person. But if you have seen the movie, well, which I hope you are, if you're this far in, man, I want to know what you think about the movie. I want to see your comments. Like, that's the most. I just want to, because I love it. I love everything about this movie. This movie is a 10 for me. I haven't been on IMDb to rate it yet, but it's a 10. Everything was perfect, and I can't wait for the next one already.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I would kind of echo what you had to say, which is I liked this movie a lot. It had better pacing than the first one. It was riveting. I was glued to my seat. I was very into it. It was very what's the word I'm looking for? Exhilarating.
Yep.
And yeah, definitely go see it if you haven't. Go see it again if you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really all I would say.
You have one more thing to say, don't you?
I do. Thank you for watching and or listening to this, and we appreciate you. Thanks for checking out our thoughts on Star Wars. Please go check out our articles and videos on thebuttonsmashers.com. And be good to each other. And remember, we are not going to win by fighting what we hate, but saving what we love.